All right, guys, good morning. I want to talk about this situation here. Now, let me scroll back. Okay, so we'll, um, okay, well, this one, I'll just start here very quickly. You all remember, okay, we created this head, shoulder, and, well, we all know what happened. Price actually crashed down below. Now, this completely took out the bottom. It overshot the target. But normally when you get to target, there's usually some sort of support in that sort of area. Like I'll just, we'll all remember this pattern here. Now, I'm just trying to do this pretty quickly. I drew that pretty rough, but you can get a rough gist of it. Now, if we take that to the breakdown point, where did we break down to? Well, we hit target of the bigger pattern. Now I can move that down actually. You can see I can move that down there, and if I move this down, well, you can see how close this was to target, right? We're not looking at this target here. We're looking at the bigger pattern, but the downtrend started of breakdown out of this larger pattern, and the market bottomed at target. Okay, basically, it pierced the target. It was almost flawless. All right, and then we had this little smaller pattern, and we came down into that sort of area. So there was double confluence right, down in here of a target area where Bitcoin should in fact actually drop to. So the patterns worked out. It was flawless. The market symmetry was quite amazing. Okay, and it was telling you it was going down there. You know, if you're reading the patterns properly. Now we look here. Okay, well, what is this? This is another head and shoulders. Okay, and if I take this and move this to the breakdown, where did we go? We hit it almost to the dollar. Right, if I move this out of the way, and I don't even have it drew right because there you can see that, and it's basically to the dollar. Okay, it's perfect, absolutely flawless, and the market was telling you the price was coming down there, and again the level held. Right, look at this, the level held. Now if we come back here and we do this, well we all know what happened here again. I'm doing it very roughly. This was an overshoot. You could take it from here, but it's not really a true pattern target, to be honest. So this actually did not hit target. Okay, but you can see here this one did hit target, but if you take it from the peak, it didn't. It overshot, right? So the market symmetry and the market target on this one was not maybe as good as it could have been, but if you got this target, it did work out pretty well. I mean, if you started to buy on this one, and okay, let's mix it up a bit. If you actually, it doesn't matter. We can see that the main target did not actually reach. This one did perfectly, and this one did perfectly. Now, what do we have here? Okay, I don't want this video to be too long. Well, we all know this. I know we all know this, but I'm just trying to remind people that we are where we're at and what's actually happening at this point. Now, if we take the head and shoulders target, you can see the left shoulder, head, and right shoulder. Now, if we take this, where did we hit? Well, look at this. It was absolutely flawless. It was basically almost to the dollar again, right in here. It was basically to the dollar, telling us that we have hit target and then we bottomed out. Okay, so if you go by last history, a lot of times when major patterns hit target, the market can bottom. Okay, I mean it wasn't completely flawless, but it was fairly good. Now people are talking about this that guy, what do you call that idiot that's calling for Bitcoin to die basically. Uh, the big short guy, Michael Burry. Okay, not that he's not it. He's obviously amazing, but I'm saying he's an idiot because he's saying Bitcoin's going to go to zero or going to whatever. Who knows? He'll probably he'll probably be right again at some point. But what I'm saying is, he's calling for this head and shoulders. But if a pattern can't hit target, right? If we take that breakdown, where is this target going to? Where's this going to? It's going to minus $3,000. It's impossible. It's an idiot call. It's kind of what I'm trying to get at. It's not going to happen. And if you get this, it means at some point Bitcoin's going to have a failed move. It's an irrelevant pattern. It's a false pattern. Anyway, forget about that. I just thought I'd mention that. Now, to delete all this stuff, what we have here, right? We are trying to come into a 12-hour apex. Okay. Now, the first time price comes into an apex, it usually fails. Okay. Now, it really depends on the structure. It really depends. Can I go back here and just for an example here? Okay, we got into the white 100 moving average, we failed, we rolled away. Second time we got above it and moved. Okay, first time, look, white 100 moving average, we failed after white 100 moving average first, dropped away, and then we got above it. This was not an apex. Okay, first time we got into the white 100 moving average, we failed. If we go back here, this is not a real apex, but the first time we got into it, we rolled away. That's just some examples in past history or whatever. This is a 12-hour chart, by the way. Now here, this is not an apex, but this is a bullish pattern. Okay, so the first time we come into the white 100 moving average, there can be a rejection. Okay, is this that touch? We didn't really touch it yet. So what I'm saying is, potentially we could kind of do something like this, work our way back up, and it's as we talked about right before in that last video in this that we need to be prepared if we get this stop hunted, right? And that level's here where I've got my alarm set right here. What is that? 33625 is it? Anyway, 32625. Yeah. So if we stop hunt this level right here and come back in, that would give us that rejection off the white 100 moving average and bring us back down. It's normal to fail on the first attempt at an apex. So again, it's a little bit of confluence maybe that like this apex, it's starting to shape up. Why are we still in this base? You need a base to form a real apex. And at this point in time, we're trying to form a real apex. So the first attempt at the apex usually fails. We're getting actually some selling in the last 12 hours. I just woke up. So I think we need to be aware of this and be on guard. We are pretty close, in my opinion, to be like when I look at this, it looks bullish to me. And don't get me wrong, it definitely could fail, and we could roll away from it, on a pretty bad rejection. But overall, it looks pretty bullish. Okay, so the last time something like this happened, okay, was let me just show you this. The last time something like this happened was back in 2015, okay, on a 12-hour chart. We can see we got that big drop and that big crash, and from that big crash, that's a 37% crash, but price dropped below all moving averages, right? And we consolidated and chopped about into the white 100 moving average. You can see that the first touch, and it didn't really touch, but we came there and we rejected off it a little bit. It's not the best rejection, to be honest, but what happened afterwards was quite amazing, and it was flawless. What you want to see in an apex, price recaptured the moving averages, all the smaller moving averages. We got above them all, and then the master moving average, the white 100 moving average, got underneath price to support price up until this point here. Everybody probably thought that Bitcoin was going to crash. In the space of 2 days, it completely changed because we got above all these moving averages here, and we just started to grind into the apex. And from that grind into the apex, well, I mean, that was all she wrote. We went from 2,200 to 60,000 or whatever it was. But I'm just saying, we are getting very close to this 12-hour apex, and it's going to be extremely important how Bitcoin reacts to that. If we get into this apex, we do not want to fight that.